What we see very early on with Raphael is the way that he's pushing the boundaries of the visual conventions and ways of working that he has inherited. He's looking for something new, something different. And even in this quite early drawing, what he's doing is working with metal point, a very traditional technique, which is quite challenging because you can't rub it out. So everything you do, every mark you make leaves a visible trace. He's also working with studio assistants in everyday dress who are posing for him, and you can almost hear him telling them to move as he's drawing. But if you look at the sheet, you can see lots of squiggles and marks that are calligraphic, that indicate the rapidity of his own cognitive processes. He's not only working from the life, he's also remembering from his well-stocked visual memory, and he's only 19 years of age at this point, I should say. He's also remembering key figures that he's seen in the work of more senior artists that he wants to emulate, adapt, transform into something new. So this sheet is about experimentation, improvisation, observation, and also recalling from memory. And this is what drawing can do. This is not something you'll see in the end in the final painting. So here, by contrast, Raphael is using very, very fluently, as you can see, pen and ink. However, he also makes some indicative marks on the blank sheet first, using a stylus that simply indents the sheet in ways that he can see. Here it's very minimal. In other drawings, we do find him working in extraordinarily complex and layered ways. Here you have minimal marks with the stylus, and then with pen and ink, he's thinking of a figure. We can identify the figure because she's carrying a mask, a dramatic mask. She is the muse of tragedy, Melpomene. And he's thinking of her almost as though she's a relief sculpture, slightly flattened. He starts with this almost conceptual realization of the beautiful turning profile against the curve of a shoulder. There's something quite geometrical going on there. Then as his hand sort of moves down the sheet, he starts working on the drapery in ways that are quite crisp and clear, almost again like the sharpness of a beautiful relief sculpture. But then as he moves further down, you can see that he takes off completely in a wildly exuberant way with these flourishes of drapery, and he recharges the pen to achieve extraordinary sort of inky depths. What he's doing essentially is thinking through this. He's having a conversation with himself about the muse. What does the muse do? She inspires dramatists and poets to a kind of fury of inventiveness. And this fury is coming out in the gestural energy of his hand as he's making that drawing. In a drawing like this one, Raphael's really exploiting the richness, the kind of sensuousness of this red chalk to the full. Red chalk is actually an earthy material, it's a mineral. So he's using this again over a little blind stylus first just to fix the pose. He's thinking through the idea of an angel sitting on a planet, and he knows this is part of actually a mosaic decoration. So mosaics, of course, glitter in the light. So again, he's got to think about radiance and luminosity. And I think he really achieves this in the red chalk. He uses it very interestingly. The angel's upraised arm is quite sculptural. It's quite lucid, because that's the arm with which the angel is saying, God, the Father, the Creator in the heavens above, commands your veneration. But the other side of the angel's body is much more softly treated, much more, sometimes even more blurred in its treatment. And that side of the body is where the angel is looking down to the earthly zone, again with a kind of tenderness, communicating with humanity. And these different effects that Raphael finds in the material of his drawing are effects to do with expressiveness, how he expresses the different thoughts and emotions of this angelic figure and the concept that he needs to communicate